Okay, first things first, we're going to start with conversions. So if you have 3 kilograms, a patient who is 3 kilograms, and you want to know how many grams they are, you're going to be making that essentially, you should be ending up with a larger number. So you're just moving a decimal point. Quite simple. Ready? So you're going to move it over 3. Remember, metric system, you tend to move in threes. So 3 kilograms is 1, 2, 3. Add your zeros, is going to be 3,000 grams. Same thing here. You have 2.5 grams and you want to make them milligrams. 1, 2, 3 milligrams. Okay. Now, we're going to move in the other direction. You have 8 milligrams. Remember, you always have that imaginary decimal at the end of a whole number. And you want to make it micrograms. Oh, no, we're moving the same direction. Just kidding. 1, 2, 3. 8,000 micrograms. Now we're going to move in the other direction. So you have 3,000 milliliters. And you want to make it liters, you're going to go the other way. So 1, 2, 3 equals 3 liters. All right, now 22 pounds to kilograms, right? So let's start with a fresh slate. This is going to require some division, right? So if you have 22 pounds and you have a 22, you're going to divide by 2.2. Remember, you have this. You put that decimal in, move it over 1 for both sides. Oh, too much. So 22 goes into 22 once. Bring that 0 down. 22 into 0 is 0, so that means it is 10 kilograms. Okay, 800 micrograms. Here's your decimal point, and you want to make it milligrams. So you're going to make it a little bit smaller. Or you're going to be moving this way. So 1, 2, 3. So 800 micrograms is 0.8 milligrams. 3 liters, you want to make it milliliters. It's kind of the opposite of what we had up in question number 57. So 3 liters, 1, 2, 3 is 3,000 milliliters. 500 milligrams, and you want to make it grams, you're going to go to the left. 1, 2, 3. So that's going to be 0.5 grams. Let me make some more space because this one. So now you're going from grams to micrograms. All right, so we're skipping, right? So it's grams to milligrams to micrograms. So you're going to have to move 6 spots. So if you have 5 grams, you're going to go 1, 2, 3. That's milligrams. And then another 1, 2, 3 for micrograms. So that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you have 5 million micrograms. All right, moving on to the next section. If you have a patient who weighs 176 pounds, how many kilograms are they, right? Because you need to figure out how many kilograms a patient weighs in order to do this appropriately. So this is one of your benchmarks. 176 pounds is 80 kilograms. So if you have a drug order for 1 milligram per kilogram, pretty simply, you should be giving this patient 80 milligrams. Okay, a 220-pound patient, another benchmark. This is a 100 kilogram patient. You want to give this patient 10 milligrams per kilogram. So, going to multiply, right? So 1, 2, 3, drop that down. 1, 2. So your total dose is going to be 1,000 milligrams. All right. So now we have a 55-pound patient. Okay, so let's do the division for this one. You move that over, right? 2.2 becomes 22. 5 becomes, bring that up. So 22 into 55 is 2. Drop that down. 22 into 110 is 5. So you have a 25-kilogram patient. And you want to give that 25-kilogram patient 20 milliliters per kilogram. 0, 0, drop your 0. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So you are going to give this patient 500 milliliters. Next patient's 110 pounds. Let's do the math on this one also. Should already kind of have an idea. 2.2. Okay, so you move this decimal point over and move this decimal point over. Okay, so 22 goes into 11 0 times. 22 goes into 110 5 times. And then that's 110, 0, drop the 0, 50. So you have a 50-kilogram patient. So if you have a 50-kilogram patient and you want to give them 5 micrograms per kilogram per minute, I'm going to do the math. So 5 times 0 is 5. 5 times 2 is 50. So you're going to give them 250 micrograms per minute. £22 pounds. All right, so a 22-pound patient should look pretty simple. 22 is 1, 0, so you have a 10-kilogram patient. So if you have a 10-kilogram patient and you are going to give them 0.1 milligram per kilogram, 0, 1, 0, 0, and you're going to move that decimal point over one spot. So you're going to give this patient 1 milligram. Okay. So now we're going to do drug concentrations, which is, again, should be pretty simple, hopefully. So if you have 100 milligrams in 10 mLs, first thing first, you're gonna just simplify. So quite simply, this is 10 milligrams per milliliter. If you have 50 milligrams in 2 ml, you're just going to divide 50 by 2. That should be pretty simple. If you've ever had a quarter in your pocket, you should know that that's 25 milligrams per milliliter. All right, this one, let's just do the math on this one, the long division, so you can see. So if you have 250 milligrams in 20 mLs, first things first, let's simplify, get rid of those zeros. So now it's 2 into 25. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 5 twice. Okay, we're going to utilize that decimal point, bring it up off top. Add that extra 0. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So your concentration is 12.5 milligrams per milliliter. Okay, let's make this. All right, so since we want to have all of our drug concentrations in milligram per milliliter, which seems to be the trend here, if you have 1 gram in 10 ml, you could do it 2 ways. So first thing is you could divide 1 by 10 and get grams per milliliter. So you're going to have to make this, no, you're not going to do that, sorry. You're going to put a decimal point, bring it up top, and add your 0. So 10 goes into 10 once. So it would be either 0.1 grams per milliliter, or you can turn your grams into milligrams. So 1, 2, 3, simplify, and that's 100 milligrams per milliliter. These are also equivalent. You can also come to here and then move this over, right? So 0.1 grams per milliliter. Move this decimal point over 3 spots. 100 milligrams per milliliter. Same difference. And the last one, 72, is the answer's right there. That's your concentration, your 1 milligram per milliliter. It's 1 for 1. Pretty simple. Okay, so how many milliliters are you going to be administering? So if you have a 100 milligram vial, 5 mLs, and you are requested to give 75 milligrams, how many mLs? So 100x equals, let's do some math here on the side, 25. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 2 is 37. So it's 375. So now we're going to divide both sides. So x equals, how many times is, and this is again, you're just going to move the decimal point over twice, right? 1, 2, so you're going to give 3.75 milliliters for that first question. Okay. Next question. You have a 1 milligram over 1 ml vial, and you are going to give 0.25 milligrams. This is some of the easiest drug math that you're going to do. If it's a 1 for 1 and you need to give 0.25 milligrams, you're going to be giving 0.25 milliliters, okay? You don't even have to do math on that one. Make your life extra easy. All right. You have a 50 milligram in 2 ml vial, and you want to give 25 milligrams. So 50x, because we're cross multiplying, equals 50, right? Because 2 times 25 is 50. Divide both sides by 50. X equals 1 milliliter. This is Benadryl. Most of the time, this is your Benadryl, how it's packaged. All right, so now up top on 76, we have a 200 milligram in 5 ml package, and you want to give 50 milligrams. So we're going to do 200x equals, let's do some quick math over here on the side, 0, 5 times 5 is 250, 250. Now you're going to divide both sides by 200, sorry, so 200 into 250. Obviously, you're going to need a decimal point, so let's put that in and add a 0. Make sure you bring it up top. 200 goes into 250 once. $200 goes into 500 twice. It's 400. This over here. Bring down another 0. 200 goes into 1,000 5 times. Okay, so you are going to give 1.25 milliliters. All right, if you have 1 milligram in 10 ml and you want to give 0.5 milligrams, how many milliliters? Okay, so cross multiply. So x is by itself, 10 times 0.5. Now 10 times half, essentially, right? So you're just going to half 10 is 5. All right, let's get some more space because this one's got extra math. All right, so first things first, you have a 198-pound patient. This should be familiar to you. This is a benchmark weight. A 198-pound patient is 90 kilograms. Okay, so you are going to give this patient 5 milligrams per kilogram. It's your dose, right? So 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 9 is 45. So you are going to give this patient 450 milligrams. Okay, so your packaged dose is 500 milligrams in 10 ml. You want to give 450 milligrams. What's your X? So 500 X equals 4500. First things first, let's make this a little easier to manage, right? Let's make it smaller. Simplify both sides by dividing by 100. So 5x equals 45. So now you're going to divide both sides. But didn't we do that math like right here? So x equals 9. Okay. Next math question. Number 79. You have a patient who is 187 pounds. Okay, you want to give 1 milligram per kilogram. So if that's the case, you should be converting that. So 187. Oh, hold on. 180. We're going to do the math for it because this is not one of your benchmarks. So 2.2 into 187. Right, move the decimal point over 1, move it over 1. So 22 into 18, no go. 22 into 187 is 8. So here's show you the math here. 16. A 16 is 176. 22 into 110 is 5. So your 85 kilogram patient, and you want to give them 1 milligram per kilogram. Okay, so that means you're going to give them 85 milligrams. You have 100 milligrams in 10 ml. You want to give 85. So 100x, right, going to cross multiplying, is 850. Both sides divide or simplify. So now you're going to divide both sides by 10. So x equals 8.5 milliliters. Oh dear. Small technical difficulty. Okay, next question, number 80. You have 2 milligrams in 1 ml, and you need to give 10 milligrams. Same setup. 2x equals 10. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 5. And that would be one of those situations where you actually would need more than one vial. Alright, question 81. You have 40 milligrams in 10 ml, and you need to give 120 milligrams. So 40x equals 1, 2, 2, extra 0. Simplify both sides because make it a little easier. So you're going to divide both sides now by 4. X equals, and for those of you who want to see the long division, 4 goes into 12 3 times. 4 goes into 0 0 times. X equals 30. All right, last question from this section. You have 400 milligrams in 20 ml, and you want to give 80. So 400x equals 80 times 20. Let's do that here for you. Okay, first things first, let's simplify. Okay, now you're going to divide both sides by 4. 4 goes into 16 4 times. All right, next section. So it says right here we're going to use a micro drip set for each one. First things first. So that means you're going to do, the first is you want to give 3 milligrams per minute. You have 1 gram of the drug, and you're going to put it in a 250 milliliter bag. Okie dokie. So first things first, let's figure out our concentration. It's going to have to be in milligrams, so that means 1 gram, move that decimal point over 1, 2, 3, is 1,000 milligrams divided by 250. So first things first, let's simplify. So we have 100 milligrams in 25 ml. This should look relatively familiar. This means that it is 4 milligrams per ml. This is your dose on hand. So you want desired dose over dose on hand times our drip set, which was 60. So here's our desired dose. So 3 over 4 times 60 over 1, save that spot. So now we can multiply across. So 3 times 60 is 180. 4 times 1 is 4. Here's your long division time. 4 goes into 18 4 times. 4 goes into 20 5 times. So you are going to do 45 drops a minute. Okay, next question. Again, so here a desired dose is, mark it for you, desired dose is 2 milligrams per minute. You have 2 grams in a 500 milliliter bag. So that means, remember, 3 spots, so that's 2,000 milligrams in a 500 milliliter bag. Cross out those zeros. So you have 20 milligrams in 5 mLs. This should look familiar, right? 20 divided by 5 is 4. So here's your dose on hand. 2, right? Desired dose. Dose on hand times 60 is your drop set. 2 over 4 times 60 over 1 equals 120 over 4, your long division breakout. 4 goes into 12 3 times. 4 goes into 0 0 times. You're going to give your patient 30 drops a minute. Okie dokie. Next question. You have a desired dose of 4 micrograms per minute. You have 1 milligram in 250 milliliters. Again, they were sort of establishing a pattern now, right? So 3 times, you're going to move that decimal place, so it's 1,000 in 250. Simplify, so 100 in 25 is 4 micrograms per milliliter. This is your dose on hand. So 4 over 4 times 60 over 1. 4 over 4, right? That's a whole number. This just becomes 1. So you're going to do 60 drops a minute. Okay, next question. Oh, nope, didn't want to do that. technical difficulties. There we go. All right, so number 86. Your doctor order for your 176-pound patient who benchmarked weight is 80 kilograms is 5 mics per kilo per minute. So let's just find out what our desired dose is. 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 8 is 40, so 40, 400 micrograms per minute. That's your desired dose. You have 400 milligrams in 500 milliliters. Should look familiar, but for those of you who doesn't look familiar, let's do it the long way. You're going to move that decimal point over 3, so that means you're adding 3 zeros to make it a microgram. It's still in 500 milliliters. Make it a little smaller. So now you've got 5 into 4,000. 5 into 40 is 8. 5 into 0 is 0. 5 into more zeros, still 0. So your dose on hand is 800 micrograms per milliliter. That sounds a lot like dopamine. So if you are doing your desired dose, which is 400, over 800, which is your dose on hand, times your microdrip set, let's simplify this. Okay, 4 times 60 is 240. 8 times 1 is 8. Long division for those of you who like to see it. 8 goes into 24. 3 times. 8 goes into 0, 0 times. So you are going to give 300 GGT drops a minute. Okay. Last one in this section, number 87. You have a desired dose of 2 milligrams a minute. You have 1 gram in 500 milliliters, which means that you have 1,000 milligrams in 500 milliliters. You're going to simplify this. So you have 10 milligrams in 5 mLs. So for those of you who like your long division, 5 goes into 10 2 times. So that means that you have 2 milligrams per milliliter. Another wonderfully simple math problem, because your desired dose is 2, your dose on hand is 2, and you're going to multiply that by your drip set. 2 over 2 is a whole number of 1. So you're going to have 60 drops a minute. Okay, so fluid infusion rates, right? So we just worked our way through our desired dose over dose on hand formula. When it tells you, oh, it's going to be a fluid infusion, that's volume over time times your drip set. Or I guess they're going to tell you what your drip set is. So drip set. So first volume is 300. First time is 60 minutes times your drip set of 10 over 1. Always add your 1. Let's simplify. So 3 times 10 equals 30 over 6. For those of you who like your long division to be seen, not heard. Hold on, let me get a little cleaner. 6 goes into 30 5 times. So it's going to be 5 drops a minute. All right. Well, I'll put your formula back up. All right, next one. You have a volume of 200 milliliters over 60 minutes times a 15 drop set. As I said, first things first, simplify. So you have 20 times 15. Let's do the multiplication. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 2 is 10. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 2 is 2. So you have 300 put that over 1 just, right? So then 6 times 1 is 6. Long division for those of you who like to see it, 6 goes into 300. 6 goes into 3, 0 times. 6 goes into 35 times. Bring that 0 down. 6 goes into 0, 0 times. Done. So you are going to give 50 drops a minute. All right. Final question. I've deleted that formula one too many times. All right. So volume is 20 mLs. Time is 20 minutes. Your drop set is 60. The number over itself, right? Its whole number is 160 drops a minute. All right, guys. Hope it's helpful.